Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about why you are addicted to bad habits. The truth about why you're addicted to bad habits. But before I do so, I want you guys to join my free school community. I have a bunch of free courses in there that go into depth on fitness, business, relationships, right? So I go more into depth on those courses and more in depth than I do typically in these YouTube videos. So if you're interested in that, right, you want to join a like-minded group of men, I highly suggest you guys click that link below. It's completely free. So yeah, do that whenever you want. So anyways, getting back to the video. Drugs, substances, right, bad habits, things that we typically are told to stay away from, things that we experience the negative side effects of. Why do you get addicted to those? Why are you so incessantly craving these substances? Why do you want it so much? Why do you want to watch porn so much? Why do you want to rub out? Why do you want to jerk off constantly? Why is your body constantly screaming at you for food and alcohol and weed and whatever else, video games and just so much stuff, right? And I'll tell you this, right? As a kid, remember when we were kids, right? I mean, you guys have probably heard a lot of people speak about this, and you probably heard me say it maybe if you've been around my channel for a while. But between the ages of like 1 to 7, right, when you're in that kind of like toddler stage, you're not thinking about having addictions and having certain responsibilities and having things you have to do, right? You're kind of just there, you're just playing, right? You're kind of just in a state of being, like nothing's really affecting you. You're kind of just like hanging around the house, you're playing, right? You're doing whatever. You're not really thinking about any goals. You're not thinking about any responsibilities. You're not thinking about making money, right? You're not thinking about being a man or, owing up to some standard that you place for yourself, right? So when I talk about addictions, right, there's definitely a biological, neurological impetus, right, to crave those things, right? And obviously you're addicted because, well, your brain is sending chemicals, right? It's sending withdrawal symptoms whenever you don't have the substance, right? Because, you guys are aware, it's common knowledge, but yeah, when you don't have the substance, right, and you've been using it for a few days prior, right, weeks prior, and you try to go a week, 2 weeks, right, you're gonna feel the withdrawals, obviously. But I'm not really talking about that. What I'm really talking about is a sort of spiritual phenomenon, right? Because I can talk all day about the scientific reasons why you're addicted, right? But I think it goes deeper than that, right? Because a lot of us, to be honest, the reason why we're addicted to things is because it's not that we don't like our life. It's not that we're not disciplined, right? It's not that we don't have enough willpower. It's that we don't like our mental chatter. We don't like thinking. We don't like planning. We don't like having to work. We don't like having to deal with the thoughts that our brain is generating on a constant, daily, moment-to-moment experience. So your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your fears, your stories, the things you tell yourself, we don't like that most of the time. I can say, I generally try to be a pretty optimistic guy. I generally try to do things that make me feel good, that aren't addictive, that aren't going to harm me. But with all that being said, right, I still have thoughts that enter my mind that I'm like, damn, dude, where did that come from? I don't like that thought, right? And it could be anything, right? It doesn't have to be a particular thought that I don't like, but it just could be any thought. And I'm like, damn, dude, I don't like the way that makes me feel, right? So really what we're trying to do is we're trying to get into like a state where we don't have to deal with that, right? And your everyday experience of thinking gets exhausting. It gets exhausting when you're waking up every single day and You know, every human experiences it. It gets exhausting, right? It gets exhausting thinking about the future. It gets exhausting thinking about what you got to do and your responsibilities, right? And what sucks is that that's just life as an adult, right? Like, we really didn't have to, like I said earlier, we don't deal with that reality as a child. You don't have a mind. You don't have really a sense of self. You don't have a sense of survival needs, right? But once you get to be an adult, your survival depends on you, right? So you don't have your parents necessarily to support you, right? I mean, you do, but at the end of the day, you still got to create a life for yourself as you get older and develop an identity. So that's really honestly why we get addicted to substances. We want to get away from that. And here's the difference, right, between those addictions and doing the things that actually give you pleasure from that are healthy for you, like exercise, Wim Hof breathing, cold showers, running, walking, like, you know, like healthy exercises and stuff, right? Practices and stretching and all that stuff, right? Those are difficult, right? Those are like the instant things that require delayed gratification, because you don't get an instant pleasurable high right when you start doing like the Wim Hof breathing, for example, right? It takes a few rounds to start to feel the euphoria, right? Once you get to, I don't know, the 5th or 6th round of like the Wim Hof breathing, for example, like that's when you start to really feel good, right? Same thing with running. Like, it takes about 20 minutes once you get running to start to get that runner's high. So the thing with like your addictions, right? It's like a straight shot, right? Like when you open up porn, right, and you release your seed, right? That's an instant. That doesn't take effort, right? Like, it doesn't take effort to jerk your wrist, right? To jerk your male member with your wrist. It doesn't take effort, right? It takes a very minimal effort, as opposed to, let's say, running on the treadmill or running outside. That takes a lot of effort, using your whole body to get to that high, right? Same thing with Wim Hof breathing. Like, you got to sit there and be patient with your breath. It's a little easier than running, obviously, but I think you guys get the point. So it's like all the addictions that we find ourselves struggling with, like weed, for example. You roll the blunt, or you have the bong. All you gotta do is flick the lighter. Easy, effortless, instantly high, right? So same thing with alcohol. Just gotta pour it in. There you go. You're starting to already get into another state of consciousness, right? So all of your emotions, all of your feelings, all of your thoughts and your plannings for your future, your goals, and what you have to do today, right? All that gets frustrating, right? And then thinking about your past and thinking about things you could have done different. Like, it's a very chaotic life inside the human mind, right? A lot of it is uncontrollable, right? And a lot of it, you know, I mean, I'm sure you can get into better states of consciousness in your day-to-day life with, you know, practice meditation and practice yoga. But let's be honest, a lot of us don't have that time. So, you know, in the West, right, we're working, we got shit to do, we got families, we got this, we got that, right? So it's like, yo, like, most of us, we want a spiritual experience, we want, you know, to feel good, but we often just take that easy way out, because it's like, yo, I'm tired, I don't have time to go run, or I don't feel like running, right? I'm at home, like, I just had a long day of work, right? Like, dude, I just dealt with my shitty ass boss. I just dealt with some annoying ass coworker, annoying customer, right? Like, I'm not trying to go for a 30-minute run. I'm not trying to do, you know, the difficult thing. So just understanding that can sort of put things into perspective as to really like why you're addicted, right? From kind of like a spiritual perspective, because we all know like the scientific reasons why your dopamine and your withdrawals and this and that, right? That's great. But really what you're looking for is an altered state of consciousness, right? So, you know, I practice Wim Hof breathing. I practice cold showers. I'm not as consistent as, you know, I can be, because just lack of time, but I still do them, right? And they help, right? So, your goal in life, right, when it comes to addiction and overcoming like porn or something like that, something that's really seductive and sedating, is going to be your ability to get into higher states of consciousness naturally, right? Because here's the thing, right? I can sit here and tell you all day to transmute your energy and do this and that, but bro, if you're not getting into happier states of consciousness on a daily basis, right? I.e. cold showers, i.e. meditation, i.e. breath work, i.e. like running and getting that runner's high, being out in nature, like you're gonna be addicted to something, because it's hard for the human brain to be sober in a constant state of chaos from a mental standpoint. It's hard, right? And that's why, like I said, if you don't, that's why I think the West needs a lot of these practices. We need to be more involved in our spiritual life, because it's like, if we don't, it's not easy and it's boring. Like, it's shitty work. Like, it's not fun sitting there and doing breath work for 10 to 15 rounds and getting the endorphin rush and, feeling good. That's not fun. No one wants to do that shit. No one wants to jump in a cold shower. No one wants to go run for 20 minutes. No one wants to sit there and meditate. Or no one really wants to go out for a walk. That takes effort to go outside, right? Most people don't go outside. Like, it's crazy. I live in this apartment complex. I see like the same 5 people, right, when I go out for my walks around my apartment complex. So, like I said, we're so busy with kids and work and school and whatever else we got going on. But if you wonder why you're addicted, that's why you're addicted, right? And no matter what, I'll give you a secret about life. This is something no one will ever tell you. The whole universe everything is programmed to move towards love, joy, happiness, bliss, and goodness, right? I mean, yes, we do experience the opposite, but it's to give us that contrast bias. So if that's the truth, right, then it makes sense for the human being, right, to do things to move towards love, to happiness, to goodness, to joy, to strength, to health, right? But it's just about doing it in the right way, right? Because you're always going to want to feel good, right? Like, it's the present state of human consciousness, right? Like, your present state right now, your chaotic mind that's constantly thinking, that has constant thoughts and is constantly worrying or wondering and reminiscing about the past and planning for the future and stressing about what you have to do in your day-to-day life, that state of consciousness that you're in every single day, that everyone's in every day, that's not something that we're not designed to live in that state all day. That's why we get addicted to things. That's why we sedate ourselves, because it's like, you need a break from that reality. It gets exhausting. Like I said, the human mind is exhausting. It's an exhausting machine, right? So, like I said, you got to do things to alter your state, right? And obviously, you're gonna get put back to equilibrium and get back to your normal state of consciousness where you're thinking. But I can tell you that you'll have an easier time with addictions, right? And you won't be so needy for them if you're able to, like I said, do those cold showers, do the breathing, go out for the walks, be in nature, right? For example, porn is something that's, I don't even think it's really like the want to watch like naked women. I think it's just, we have, as guys, it's like we have so much like built up energy that it's like, yo, I gotta release this somewhere, right? So, breath work and getting into higher states of consciousness will help you deal with that. But yeah, like, if that, from a spiritual perspective, that's why you suffer immensely, right? And that's why these practices are so important. That's why the Eastern traditions are so big on yoga, meditation, right? Fasting, psychedelics, things like this, because it's like, we understand that it's like, yo, if we don't get into these higher states, these happier states, the suffering won't end. There's no magic cure. You're not going to have enough money to fix your mental state. You're not going to have enough women to fix your mental state, to fix the present moment, right? So no amount of external success is ever going to cure your mind. And that's what we all want. Like, that's what we all want, but we just don't know that's what we want. We think that there's an imaginary place where we have all this money and we're getting laid and things are going well, that like that's gonna be our salvation and our problems will go away. But the thing about the human mind, guys, a secret about the human mind, its literal design is to find problems, right? its design is to find problems in everything from why is the traffic slow? I'm hungry right now. I'm cold right now. Oh, there's a needle in my foot. Like, no matter what you do, your mind's always going to be generating some sort of thought that is trying to move you from an uncomfortable situation to a comfortable situation, so it doesn't go away, right? But you just got to do your best to, consciously use your mind to seek out healthy practices that put you in better states, right? And I mean, you have to constantly be involved with spiritual practices and health practices, right? Because like I said, the brain, the mind never shuts off, right? So that's why we get addicted to easy out substances, and that's how, I mean, you can manage it. You can't get rid of your mind, so you're not going to get rid of your want for food or for sex, but your need for higher states of consciousness can be met by delving into spiritual practices, right? So I'm gonna make more videos on cold showers and Wim Hof breathing in the future, but I just wanted to make this because there's a big misconception that, like I said, it's just scientific when it comes to addiction, or it's just neurological, psychological, when it's really not. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.